Aloha and welcome to Small Business Hawaii with Reg Baker. My name is Ina Chang and I'm the guest host for Business Hawaii with Reg Baker today. And we're broadcasting live in Pioneer Plaza Think Tech Hawaii studio every Thursday at 2 p.m. every week. And if you're interested, we're broadcasting live and you can tune in at www.thinktechhawaii.com. And today we have our guest, Bernice Parsons, with us today.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Yes, and Bernice is a great friend of me for about 10 plus years, around 10 years.
Yes,
and
10
she has been
years.
operating her business in Hawaii.
Correct.
And it's a privilege to have her today. And she has tons of stories to share with today. And I believe that our audience can learn and being inspired a lot by Bernice today.
I'll do my best.
Okay, all right. So I wanted to re-emphasize this. The Small Business Hawaii with Reg Baker is to talk about inspiring business people and positive business stories in the state of Hawaii. So we're just gonna ask Bernice some questions about how
Sure.
she started her business, Vertaccount, and we can go from there.
Okay. So my business, Vertaccount, is an outsourced accounting and bookkeeping support company. Basically, what we do is we take all of the work that most small business owners struggle with, which is mainly the bookkeeping, the day-to-day bookkeeping, and we take that off of their plate and we try to streamline and organize all of that data so that they can be unburdened and really focus on what it is that they do best.
Good, good. What I wanted to also emphasize is that Bernice is also a kama'aina in the state of Hawaii for the past
12 years
12
now,
years.
yes.
And she was born and raised in the Philippines.
Yes.
And small business woman owner and minority business owner, same as I am. So I appreciate and I can feel the pain of running a small business as a woman business owner in Hawaii.
That's right.
And on top of that, she's an accomplished businesswoman who has won the, let me see here, the Small Business Financial Champion Award by the SBA back in 2010. So that was 6 years ago. And she's also the 40 under 40 by the Pacific Business News in 2013.
Well, remember, we were classmates.
We're classmates.
Yeah. So you were there too. So I tip my hat to you.
So share with us. So we hear about you talking about your outsourced services is to really take off the burden from the business owner so they can operate their business more effectively, efficiently.
Exactly.
Right? And so tell me what is it like to start your business process?
When you say start our business process, how did I start the business or how we actually deliver the service?
Let's just talk about how you deliver the services.
Okay, so basically we have, we're what we call like a distributed workforce. So we have an office here in Honolulu, but we also have 2 other locations. We have a back office in Manila, in the Philippines, and also an office in Sydney, in Australia.
Wow.
And the way we work is our client base is primarily out of either Sydney or Honolulu. And we, when we work with our clients, essentially we look at their process as a whole, their accounting process as a whole, and we try to identify ways to improve the process, make it more efficient, more streamlined, basically starting with paper.
Right.
And we can talk a little bit about how
Yes.
your company and my company collaborate on that sometimes, but it's really following the flow of the paper work through accounting and making that more efficient. And so it requires a lot of, digitizing and, scanning wherever possible and finding opportunities to take paper and turning them into electronic records. Because once it's available electronically, then my team, which is located in Manila, can actually process the work very efficiently, like as though they were just down the street. So that's how it works mainly. We work on all kinds of accounting software and fortunately everything's moving to the cloud now. So it's accessible. I mean, my team from Manila or in Sydney or here in Hawaii, we can all access the same data as well as our clients.
True. So because I'm also in a technology business,
That's right.
and Bernice just touched upon how we are also working together
Yes.
to help our customers. So with Aloha Data side, we're helping Bernice's Vertaccount company
Yes.
to digitize the accounting information, and then so that her teams in Sydney and Philippines can access the data and also process accounting information.
That's right. So I found it very helpful, when we have a client who does not have the staff to actually do the scanning, and if they have a high volume of paperwork, I can just call you and say, well, Aloha Data will pick up the records once a week, twice a week, however often. You take it to your facility, you scan it, and then my team you make it available to us in any way that we dictate, whether it's to upload it to our FTP server or to put it on Dropbox or whatever the method may be.
Right. So what I'm trying to allude it to is that because of the cloud is accessible to all the businesses and individuals nowadays, so the cost of, in fact, going outsourced model is greatly reduced. Especially us business owners, we don't have the knowledge or even have the staff to take care of our accounting information.
Right.
So I think that Bernice's services is really greatly benefited to a lot of small business in Hawaii.
Well, yes, and traditionally, accounting and bookkeeping is for a small business which has limited resources in terms of time and funds. The bookkeeping can sometimes get neglected, but it's a very important part of the business because bookkeeping is foundational. If you don't track it properly, then you can't manage it. And unfortunately, a lot of business owners, when they're starting out, or even if they're in even in later stages of their business, they may actually neglect that and not put as much attention to it. But eventually it catches up because you do need those financials, and sound bookkeeping is the basis for all of that. So we really want to help businesses in that arena, because that's really where they're underserved and undermanned.
Right.
Yes.
So I was also wanting to mention that last week we have Jane Sawyer from the SBA Hawaii here. And so every year they have this E200 entrepreneur classes, and out of which, I remember it's a 10-week program. And I remember they put emphasis on accounting for 2 to 3 weeks of their program.
Yes.
So just by the sheer number of classes, you would know how important the accounting is for business owners. And I can attest myself that out of the 10 classmates that we have, pretty much everybody has accounting questions, or this is an issue that they don't want to deal with directly.
Right. And and the thing is, what's also changed and in the mindset is that yes, every business owner should make the effort to learn how to understand their financials, know how to read your P&L, your profit and loss, or your balance sheet, and that takes time. But make the investment in learning that. But our philosophy is also, you don't need to do the actual work to produce those. Go work with professionals who can do that for you, so that you can focus on what it is that you need to do to grow your business on the high touch aspects, where if you have customer service, that's where you want to focus, and on strategy, and but have someone else, have a professional firm handle your bookkeeping and produce the reports that you need. But it's not the highest and best use of your time to be as a business owner to be trying to make sense of QuickBooks.
Right. And that's something that we don't want to invest our time or money into it. If we can consult with a specialist.
Yes. I mean, understand the financials and the metrics, but you don't necessarily have to know how to do every debit and credit, which is where people struggle with the most.
And just by listening to those words, I just make my head.
I'm sorry.
Because Rich is a CPA, and he's very financially attuned to those, trouble words for me.
Yeah, exactly.
So Bernice is also I would say, young mother with 2 children.
Yes.
And being a business owner, and I am myself too running a business for about almost the same time. And I have 3 children.
And you have 3.
Yes. And so one thing I wanted to discuss with Bernice is that how you deal with,
how do we all, right?
Right.
I mean, it's a balancing act, as we all know. I've found that, we all need, for me, I rely on a support network. My husband and I, we moved here 12 years ago, but we actually don't have any immediate family here, which poses, some challenges. But we've developed, like I said, a network of caregivers for our children, whether they're babysitters or maybe friends. And we help each other. Obviously, that's the most important, is we have to support each other, because he's also working and I'm also working. The other thing is, I don't try to have it all. I don't believe in, trying to do that you can be 100% at
But you're managing
everything.
so well.
Oh, I know, it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but I do try to know what my priorities are, and those are tested depending on the day or the hour.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm really trying to get better at, is know okay, I'm compromising this because this is really the choice that I want to, this is my priority for today. And some days that might be attending a program of, one of my kids. Or it might be like, hey, it's time to hit the gym and I need some me time.
Right.
So
Right.
it depends, but most of the time it's taking care of our, obviously of our business and our clients.
Right.
But I do, one of the advantages I feel I've had as an entrepreneur is having the flexibility with my family, in terms of just the time to be able to go out of the office if you need to.
Right.
Pick up, your kid, sorry, he's sick, can you pick him up? That's happened to all of us. So I do like that I have that flexibility.
Me too.
That's
I
a
can
big
attest
plus.
it. Yes.
Yeah,
I
that
think
makes it worth it.
because we know each other for so long,
That's
and
right.
we're too talented and too expensive to be hired. And we're just too. We don't want to be bound by rules. We just wanted to do our best because we can really outshine.
Well, I mean, speak for yourself. Me, I just think I'm unemployable. I mean, that's what it is. Yes, I mean, I think I learned early on. I did try to go the corporate route and, figured out pretty quickly that I was really meant to be an entrepreneur. And
Yes.
that's, I embrace that. And it comes with its own set of challenges, but
Yes.
I don't think personally, I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially the flexibility.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And you also travel a lot, right?
More and more these days, yes. I mean, well, in the beginning, as I mentioned, our back office is in Manila. So the first few years, there was a lot of back and forth there. Now, I have a partner, another co-founder, who manages that side of the business. But it was important to be flying back and forth more often than I think I was maybe going 3-4 times a year. But now that our processes are well established, we're entering our 6th year now. The travel that I do is more to the mainland or to to the neighbor islands, and mainly for business development.
Yes.
Or attending or learning. Always trying to learn.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Conferences, things like that.
So do you travel more to the mainland nowadays and to expand your business perhaps?
Yes. That's the hope. That's what we're trying to do. I mean, we're fortunate that our business model is not geographically limited. We can serve clients really anywhere. So I feel that the strategy, the area for growth for us is to go beyond Hawaii. Not that our job is done in Hawaii, but definitely exploring partnerships and different ways that we can
Okay.
build relationships.
Great.
Yeah.
And I also noticed that you are very active in some local boards here in Hawaii.
Yes.
So Bernice is also involved in or supporting the YWCA in the finance department.
The finance committee, the YWCA, yes.
Right, and also the
Yeah.
outrigger do Kana.
Kahanamoku Foundation,
Yes.
yes.
And can you
yes.
talk about what you do there and?
Well, I'm on the finance committee on both organizations, and it's really to essentially review the financials that management provides, but also be a sounding board
Yes.
to the decisions that they're making.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. But I am very enthusiastic about the missions of both of those organizations, which is why
Right.
I choose to participate and
Awesome.
contribute in my small way.
Okay, and can you tell us about, I guess, the staff that you have and how you manage your, working locally as well as the overseas staff?
Yes, that's definitely a unique challenge to our business, and also a great advantage, depending on how you look at it. So my staff now in Manila in the Philippines, we're 70. I think we hit 70, and it's hovering around that number.
That's 70.
Yeah, 70 people, and we have invested. It's a lot of human capital, whichever way you slice it, and we have invested a lot in our HR and essentially our programs to motivate, train, and retain staff. That's a big one, because even if we have all of the tools available to us, and like I said, we work on all kinds of software. It's not just QuickBooks. There's all kinds
Right.
of platforms that we work with. Those are just tools. At the end of the day, it's still people who are processing all of that information and turning them into reports for our clients. So It's very important for us to keep our attrition rate low. The Philippines is a powerhouse for outsourcing industries, not just finance and accounting.
Right.
We're actually probably one of the smaller pieces of that. Obviously, the lion's share is really more on call centers.
Yes.
But it's a very competitive environment regardless, and times have changed where nowadays when many of these young graduates come out of their schooling, they have so many options on which company to work with. So
Right.
developing a really strong corporate culture is very important to us. And so that's why we've invested so much in those programs.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I feel us coming from a different country and different culture really bring in different perspectives and knowledge, you would say, to, I guess, operating businesses in Hawaii.
Yes.
I don't think that we're operating businesses here locally, but more globally. How we can use the resources and manpower, human resources, and even capital
Yes.
that we have overseas
Correct.
in order to start a business here and at the same time employing people overseas. So you're really giving the benefits for the overseas employees as we're local customers because they're enjoying the discounted rates and yet at the same time have the same high quality customer service.
That's right.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
So.
Yeah. So the value add for our clients is that our staff of accountants, they all graduate from a 4-year accountancy degree, and they're actually it's a highly skilled workforce. So it's one of the biggest issues. I think I want to say it was number one in the AI CPA survey that I read in 2015 is the biggest concern of CPA firms and other industries is just access to quality and is access to quality people and qualified staff.
Yes.
It's really getting harder and harder, and the nature of bookkeeping and accounting is tedious. I mean, it is there's a lot of work that goes into it. Yeah. So you do need people, you do need the staff, but they're getting harder and harder to find. So I think we're providing a solution to that need.
Yeah, I like that, providing us solutions to solving problems. And I think a lot of the businesses in Hawaii or across the globe are starting their businesses because there are problems to resolve or to finding solutions to problems. So today we're talking with Bernice Parsons, the co-founder of Vertaccount, and she has businesses in Sydney, Philippines, as well as in Hawaii. And we're gonna take a break and we're gonna return and stay tuned with us. Aloha.
Aloha, I'm Kirsten Baumgart-Turner, and I'm fortunate to be able to host Sustainable Hawaii at thinktechhawaii.com. I hope you'll join in with us every Tuesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. to see the interesting people we have to share with you their information. Aloha.
Aloha, this is Reg Baker. I'm the host of Business in Hawaii. We air every Thursday at 2 o'clock on thinktechhawaii.com. We broadcast from the ThinkTech studios in downtown Honolulu, and we talk about positive and successful companies in Hawaii. People that have been successful despite the obstacles. They all have a good story to tell. Hopefully we'll see you on Thursday at 2 o'clock. Aloha.
Hi, aloha. My name is Chris Latham, and I host a show called The Economy and You. The show plays every Wednesday at noon, and on my show, I bring on guests who are interested or working in the technology space. And so I'd like you to come and watch the show and learn with me about all the sort of exciting things that we're doing in Hawaii to build and grow our economy ecosystem. So I'd like to say aloha, and I look forward to seeing you on the show. Thank you.
Good afternoon, this is Ina Chang, and I'm the guest host for Small Business Hawaii with Reg Baker. And welcome back with us, and today we're talking with Bernice Parsons, the co-founder of Vertaccount. So last time we stopped at how you started a business and how your business is operating, but I really wanted to drill down to the bone on what inspired you to start your business.
It was actually out of a need. which is I think how a lot of businesses start, a need and a frustration. I had moved to Hawaii 12 years ago, and I, just to take the story one step back, actually had chosen to move here with my then fiance because we wanted to, it was time for us to experience a new city. We'd both been living in Manila for a long time. And I had actually sold an internet startup. And so the world was kind of open, right? And so we could make our choice. And Hawaii was the only place on the map that we both agreed on. So that's how we ended up in Hawaii. I also love to surf, so I don't get to do it as much now, one of the challenges. But that's how we ended up here.
You're a true entrepreneur to begin with, 12
Right.
years ago.
Already, yeah. I mean, straight out of college, my first job was to do this internet startup. So I was self-employed. So when I got to Hawaii, I was still, like I mentioned earlier, we don't have any immediate family here. So we still have, deep roots in Manila in the Philippines. And then we were also making our home here in Hawaii. And so I wanted a business that would allow me to bridge my two homes.
Right.
And so at that time, I had started out with a wholesale, sort of an import and wholesale business. And quickly learned that there was a lot of bookkeeping around that. And when I had my internet startup, I never had to do any of the bookkeeping or accounting because we had an entire team. I think we had a staff of 7 in that company to handle all of the bookkeeping and accounting. So I was in charge of the back office for this import wholesale business. Business owners, we wear many hats, and that's what I was doing. And I remember one day sitting in our tiny Waikiki apartment, maybe it was 350 square feet, really small, and just being so frustrated at the amount of paperwork that I had because, we would import containers, and so the SKUs and the sales orders were, 4 pages long back and forth. So I just didn't want to have to input any of it. And so one day I just threw up my hands and I said, there's got to be a better way to do this. And I remembered my staff. And I said, well, wait a minute, I'm using QuickBooks. They know how to use QuickBooks. Why don't I just scan this over and have her do it so I can focus?
Light bulb went off.
Yeah, light bulb went off. And I said, I can just send it to them and then they can, and this was my old team. And I figured, hey, do you want to freelance or, and so I called up one of our old accounting managers and I said, hey, would you mind doing this? And she said, yeah, no problem, just send it over. And that was when the light bulb went off. And later on, I had mentioned it to actually a neighbor of mine whose background was in finance and accounting. And I said, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm handling it. Because, I don't want to be spending my time doing that. I need to go out and get accounts. I got to sell this product.
Right.
And he thought it was a great idea, too. And so prior to Vertaccount, there was a predecessor outsourcing firm that I was also involved with. That was the first company, the first version, 1.0. And that's how I got into the business. So that ended up being more successful and had more traction than the import and wholesale business, so because they both kind of started more or less at the same time, and the interest and the need or the demand was actually on the bookkeeping
So
side.
it's all about that you had this idea and you actually took on this idea and moved with it. And that's what's like, this is a true entrepreneur that you actually take actions to ideas.
Right, not always in the right direction, but it takes us a while to figure out where it is. But
we bump our heads.
Yeah, and more than just an idea, it actually started out with real pain. It was real pain, and then finding a way to solve that pain. And so that's what I hope we're doing for our clients. That's what we certainly strive to do.
Like many business owners, I would like to, hear the pain and suffering of how
pain and suffering
of how
is
you
it not on my
run this
face?
of how you run this business. I guess a lot of our viewers might want to be inspired as a small business owner, but not
inspired or deterred? No, I'm just kidding.
So I want to hear what you had faced and
the grind.
The grind.
Okay. So one of the challenges we have is, as I mentioned, our back office, our large back office, is in the Philippines. It's 3,000 miles away, and my client base is mostly here in Honolulu, or if not, they're in Sydney and a few on the mainland. So how do you bridge? Just think of the communications, all of the organization that we need to have, the discipline that we need to have. So we really, that's always a process for us, proceduralizing everything that we do.
The SOPs.
Yeah, the SOPs, and that sounds great in theory, but when you start to actually develop all of those, it's not easy. But we definitely needed to do that and continue to do that with our
Right.
business, because that's the only way to really stay, to continue to maintain our quality and be consistent. The other thing is, so in addition to the processes and the systems that we need to bridge because of distance and time zone. Now, sometimes I'm on a phone call that has 4 time zones.
Wow.
Right? Because I'll have someone from Manila, I'll be here, somebody might be in California, and there might be yet somebody else. So someone's making a sacrifice for sure if we're on 4 time zones. But it's happened. I guess, one of the other things is, like I said, that corporate culture that we're trying to build, even if we're distributed, there's 3 of us, 2 of us here in Hawaii and 1 of us in Sydney right now. He's bringing in new staff, and then the rest of the heart of the company in the Philippines. How do you build that culture?
Right.
So we're doing it by essentially developing programs that apply to all of us. One of them that I'm very proud of, and it's actually something I came up with, again, out of my own pain, was we just call it a stress buster.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a better name. We can come up with a more creative title for it.
Well, it's not like a magic button that you press.
No, I wish, no. Or neither is it a stress ball or a bat. What it is that, I found that, our work is very time sensitive. There are times when it is, high pressure, high stress.
Yes.
Not all the time, but there are it's very time sensitive. There's tax deadlines and
right.
such. So, and then sometimes just the migration, onboarding clients because of you have to learn how a business operates in a very short amount of time,
Yes.
and get that right and understand that. So, what I found is that when we see this Stress Buster program, is we actually see when it's a peer-to-peer program where any of our staff or associates, if you see that somebody, they can be doing anything. If you see that they're
Being stressed.
they're under a lot of stress, and they're under the gun, you can basically just nominate them for a stress buster. And so depending on what their, again, 70 people, we have to kind of function like a larger company. So there are, there's associate levels and, managerial level, there's tiers. But each one of those tiers has a selection of stress busters. So it's everything from gift certificates to take your family out to dinner. You
that's
can go to the
great.
gym, you can go to the spa, you can get a massage. Big favorite is, of course, karaoke, gift
Yes.
certificates.
Oh, is that big in Philippines?
Of course, it's big,
I think that's
big everywhere, I think, especially
Really?
in Asia, yes.
But not here. Do people sing karaoke here?
Yeah, there's some karaoke here. You haven't been, we should go sometime. But yeah, so this little, what I love about it is it's such a simple gesture, but when somebody is under a lot of pressure and you say, hey, I'm nominating you, it immediately takes the edge off. You feel appreciated.
Yes.
So you could say I created the event, the program for myself. I wish they would nominate me more. I'm kidding, but no, it's great because our staff uses it, and you don't have to be. It's peer to peer, so anybody can
Yes.
nominate anybody.
Yes.
Within our
And I know that
company.
a lot of the local companies, especially small business here in Hawaii, I've noticed that they have the employee some kind of recognition.
Yes.
And that made the employees feel they're being seen, they're being recognized.
Yes.
And whatever they have said and concerns have been heard. So that's one thing that all the business owners can, I guess, learn from this.
Yes, it's essentially it's really taking care of your
very
people, and finding out what that right approach is.
Yes.
Because it depends on the nature of your business.
And then it gives you access to get to know that employees better.
Yes.
Especially when you grow bigger and bigger.
Right.
Yeah, something personal touch has
It
to
still
go.
does feel personal because
Yes.
you're recognized and you're nominated for it, and then you get to choose what it is that you want. No, we're not sort of forcing
Right.
the here you get a spa, but maybe they don't like to go to a spa.
Right,
Who
right.
doesn't? But
Right. No,
some
I
people.
don't. No, give me cash.
Right, there you go. Yes, I think some of them are convertible
Yeah,
actually.
and I'll
so.
use that cash to invest.
Right. You're smart. That's right.
So I know that you talked about some business challenges, and do you want to? I know you touched upon a little bit about your personal challenges, but do you want to elaborate that a little?
Oh, pardon me, personal?
The
or-
personal challenges on when you're doing your businesses.
Oh, well, really, it's again, like you mentioned, having a young family, here in, especially in Hawaii, starting to travel more frequently, just finding that, and having many clients to take care of, and because they're just as important, and it's finding that balance. It's for me, it's really trying to zero in on my time and how I spend my day. We have a finite amount of energy, whether that's physical or mental or emotional every day, and I try to be mindful of that. And but it is it's not easy.
Right.
Sometimes I wish I could put that in a software and just tell me, hey, do 20% of this and 30 of that today. But
This is what I read from somewhere earlier this week, that the busiest businessmen or business people, business people have the best time management skills because they are aware
you're forced to. Yeah.
you're forced to. There's
Right,
no choice.
right, yes.
So today we are with Bernice Parsons, and this is Think Tech Hawaii, small business with Reg Baker, and we're about to take a break, and in about 30 seconds, and we will talk to Bernice Parsons again and hear some advice that she will give us. Aloha.
Aloha, my name is Justina Spiritu, and I'm the co-host of Hawaii Farmers Series. This is my co-host, Matthew Johnson, and you can catch us every Thursday at 4 p.m. at thinktechhawaii.com. What do we talk about, Matt?
So on Hawaii Farmers Series, we're going to be bringing on the farmers and also supporter of farmers, including restaurants, caterers, as well as government supporters and nonprofits to hear their background stories and understanding our local ag community just a little bit better.
Yeah, essentially, there's a lot more that goes into farming and the local food community beyond just producing the food. And we want to feature and get the background story on all these folks and see how we all work together as a community. So join us every Thursday. Aloha.
Aloha, this is Think Tech Hawaii, small business with Reg Baker, and today we have Bernice Parsons, the co-founder of Vertaccount, to speak with us today. So,
Thanks for having me.
and after operating your business for about 10 years,
Combined, yes, in this
combined.
industry, that's right.
Share with us some things that are inspirational with us, and things or lessons that you learned that you wish you had known to avoid.
Okay, well, I think the first one is just very practical, which is as a business owner, recognizing that your time is the most valuable time in a company. So knowing your highest and best use, and basically focusing on the things that will help you really grow your business and do proper planning and strategy, and basically offloading or outsourcing the rest to trusted professionals and advisors, right? So so that you don't get sidetracked or derailed by really issues that in the grand scheme of things are not that important. It's more important that you stay focused on growing the business, whatever that is, or maintaining the quality of your business.
Right. I think the most important thing is running a business is that we understand that it's a for-profit business. It's a nonprofit. It's not a nonprofit.
Right.
So,
exactly.
And that's the foremost, most important thing. And then secondly, once that's being taken care of, we look out to our employees and make sure the health of our companies is being taken care of. So I'm a business owner. I can attest that having somebody to take care of things that you don't have to worry about, so you can do the best at what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
But and I still see it a lot because I'm talking to business owners every day in different stages of their business. And the one thing that I see a lot of is, they're sort of apologetic. I don't know, I should know my accounting, but I don't. But you know what, I can't handle it anymore. You guys handle it. And I always say, no, actually, you don't need to be an expert in this. You need to know enough to be able to interpret your reports, but you don't need to actually do this work. And that's on other levels too, like payroll and, HR and, IT. I think there's a tendency, again, when you're naturally an entrepreneur or a business owner, you want to do everything yourself. You're problem solver.
Right.
But some of the problems are better, left to other people so that you can focus on the bigger, opportunities. There's a lost opportunity if you're spending your time as, like I said, the most valuable person in the organization as a business owner is yourself. And if you're spending it on tasks that are ultimately, seemingly, important, but not really. It's easy to get trapped, especially in bookkeeping. Boy, you can really, that's a time sucker if there ever was one. So, yep.
Anything else that you'd like to share with us?
Sure. I think, I mentioned it earlier, was just, making sure that you take care of your people. It's really important that your team stays, that you can create a culture that makes them excited to be there. At least it's very hard to retain staff these days. So you got to figure out what makes them tick.
Yes.
And make sure that your culture sort of, is designed around that as well.
Yes. Okay. So let's just say we learned that there are 17% of small businesses in the U.S. generating more than $1 million in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that having those, that's to me that's not a big number.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things could have been done, or helping those business owners to generating more than $1 million. And then I think that with Bernice's services, and start thinking about outside of the box and having a person to really help you.
Right. One of the other things that I think business owners, new business owners don't realize, and I had to learn this the hard way too. I'm not preaching this I'm saying this from my own experience, is that we tend to forget to pay ourselves. And in the beginning, it's like, oh no, I'll do everything. It's all sweat equity. I'll put it all in the business. But really, if you don't, early on, budget to pay yourself a decent wage or a decent compensation to actually live your life and run this business, eventually it will run out of gas.
Yes.
Because you're going to be forced to take a job somewhere else, and then you won't be able to give the business the focus and the attention that it needs. And again, it goes back to that concept of having very finite energy,
Yes.
Mentally and emotionally. And, if you always feel like you're going hungry, or you're not
Yes.
sure how you're going to fend,
Yeah.
so you need to work that as part of your business plan. Because if your business can't afford to pay you as a business owner, whether you do that as a paycheck or as a distribution, then why go into business? Like you
Right.
said, it's
a
you
full
do it
profit.
for profit.
Yes.
So, and that profit has to be to take care of you. So. I wish I'd known that right away. It started a few
I
business,
wish too.
right? Where you're working for free and then some.
Because we love doing what we're doing.
Sure,
Good things will come. The profits will be generated, and
Yes.
then we'll be rewarded later.
Yes.
But it should be.
Yeah, no, and so exactly, and so once I think I realized that from mentors and watching other successful business owners, you definitely have to plug in a number for yourself there, because
Right.
otherwise, how do you take care of yourself or your
Right.
family? And you don't have to start with a ridiculous salary or something that your business can't sustain, but you can certainly start with something modest and realistic.
Right.
So you got to take care of yourself too.
And I think that don't be shy about asking advice from other, mentors or
Yes, yeah.
known leaders in the community.
Never stop learning.
Right.
Right.
That's one thing I learned too.
Yeah, it's a very, business is so dynamic, and there's, that's one thing I really enjoy about my business and just what it allows me to do. One is that every client we have, it's so many industries,
Yes.
right? And because I like business, I get to hear, I get to peek under the hood, so to speak. So I get to see what makes each business tick, and that's very
Right.
interesting to
Right.
me. And on the other hand, as the business owner, I do take advantage of all the opportunities there are, for me to continue to learn and grow
Right,
as a
right.
business owner.
Because you never
Just
know
to keep
that-
keep
Right.
evolving. Yeah.
These things that you learn along the way might have helped you in creating other new business ideas or in combining with what you're doing.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
that's what I
yeah.
enjoy being a business owner too.
Right.
And I would guess that if you go on an airplane, you would not stop talking to the passenger sitting next to you, right?
Well, I try not to annoy them, but it depends. Yeah, if they, I do like people. I mean, I find, I like stories, and I like, I like hearing from different people and what they do, and many things interest me. Let's put it that way. So
I'm not going to be surprised if one day you have your book.
a
Yeah,
book,
tell-
oh gosh, yeah. If I ever had the time to sit down and write, but no, right now, I mean, as you are, we have a lot on our plate, but we do try to keep it fun and fulfilling, right?
Yes. Okay. I would like to know, like, what do you do for fun? Like,
Does a
I
glass
could-
of wine count? No, I'm just kidding. I do try to go into. I try to get in the ocean once in a while. It doesn't happen as often, nearly as often as I would like. That for me personally, I do try to go and exercise. I try to go to my boot camp a few times a week. I try. It helps me because I have a lot of energy and I need to expel that, and I always feel better when I do that. So that's sort of the me time.
Yes.
But obviously, I love spending time with my family. I mean, it's so fun with 2 young kids. It's not always fun, but most of the time it's really fun.
what I
So-
found interesting is that one time you told me that you travel with your kids.
I do, and
Yeah,
I
you-
did from the time that they were, I was not afraid. I said, all right, baby, you're coming with me. Wherever mommy goes, you go. And so we just, so they're very good travelers as a result of that. So,
Right, and
yeah,
I think that helps them understand like there's different parts of the world that actually exist. And
Yeah,
do they
different
have to-
perspectives,
Do they have to
yeah.
pack for themselves?
The 8-year-old, I'm starting him on that, but the other one is only 2. So no, he's hoping he'll pack himself inside the suitcase if I let him do that. But yeah, we do try to take trips. We do. I mean, my husband and I we're very adventurous, and we like to take the kids along with us when we can.
Where was the most adventurous place you've ever been? I guess just with
Well,
or without
the
kids?
Philippines has so many islands and many interesting places. But I gotta say, being 6 months pregnant and heading to Iceland
Ooh.
with our then
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was really a lot of fun. From Hawaii, because I was so hot.
Yes, yes.
I was like, gosh, it's so hot. It was August or September. My husband said, where do you want to go? And I said, somewhere cold. How cold? I said, Arctic cold. So we ended up there. And so that was great fun, exploring the glacier and just seeing a completely different environment and landscape. But then also seeing the similarities to Hawaii because, volcanic. And,
Yes.
Yeah, they're very interesting.
Yes.
I think if there's one last thing I'd like to add, just for all the business owners out there, I think one thing, the perspective to keep in mind as the world is turning so quickly around us, is to just remember, okay, what's it for? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this today? Why am I doing this at this moment? And I think finding that priority and understanding what that is, and because every day you make compromises, but I think if you can identify what it is, what it's for, then it makes everything so much easier. It makes it easy
I
to
agree with you.
prioritize.
I
So
agree with you.
that would be my parting shot.
Yes. And today we have Bernice Parsons as our guest for Small Business Hawaii with Raj Baker. And we had a great conversation with Bernice, and then she had great stories to share with us and her insights of running her business. And we have to part now. And please stay tuned with Think Tech Hawaii and especially the Small Business with Raj Baker segment. We are here at Think Tech Hawaii studio every Thursday at 2 p.m. And if you want to subscribe to our show, go to www.thinktechhawaii.com and subscribe with us. And we will see you next week, Thursday. Ahui ho!